All right, guys, welcome. This is our 6th web-based lecture. This is the first lecture of week 5, and we are going to be talking about affirmation and mantra today. So we've sort of moved, I don't want to say away from the 8 limbs. We're still going to talk about that and talk about how these things relate back, but we're not talking specifically about defining what a particular limb is or anything this week. We're going to do a really quick review, just like I always do. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth about meditation. I brought it up last week, particularly as it relates to limb 7 of our higher order thinking limbs, but we were a little esoteric about it. So I really want to, I'm sorry about that. I really want to try and give you guys some more solid and concrete ideas about meditation. So we'll talk about steps of meditation in particular today. And then we're going to talk about affirmation and mantras, what they are and how they relate to meditation. And then an homework assignment. So just to review, limbs 1 and 2 are codes of conduct, yamas, social restraints, and niyamas, individual observances. Limb 3 is asana or posture. Limb 4 is pranayama or breath control. Limbs 5 through 8 are our higher order thinking limbs. Limb 5 is selective attention. Limb 6 is focus. Limb 7 is meditation. Limb 8 is enlightenment. In case you guys haven't really picked up on the hint yet, the limbs of yoga are going to be on your exam. So meditation, like I said, we sort of talked about this in a very abstract sense last week, so hopefully this will be a little bit more instructive for you guys. Meditation is a form of mental training. It's much more than just sitting there with your eyes closed, thinking about that object of concentration. There are several different things that have to happen or that you have to sort of check off for it to count as meditation. First and foremost, your physical self must be still or silent. Okay, there can't be, active movement or motion occurring. You must involve some sort of training or directing of the mind. So there was that discussion last week about the spoon as the object of meditation, and you have to be able to focus on it before you can meditate on it. So that's what we're checking off in this box here. The idea that you have to be able to direct your mind in the way, that you want it to go or around that object of meditation. And then thirdly, you need to have a particular goal in mind. You shouldn't just sit down and be like, I'm going to meditate now. Meditation, again, because it's about training the mind, you have to have a goal. You have no idea if you've reached your goal, if your training has worked, if there's no way to measure it. So you need to decide in advance what your meditation practice is going to be. And it can be different every single time you meditate. It can be the same every single time you meditate. You just need to have that goal in mind. You can focus on a sound. You can focus on an image or a picture. You can focus on a concept. It would be my recommendation to you guys just starting out, make your focus of meditation something tangible. The idea to focus on a concept like peace or tranquility is great, but it's hard enough to focus on something if there's not something tangible that you can think of in your mind. So having something, again, like an image that you can actually have that picture in your brain, I think is infinitely helpful when you're just starting out. So steps of meditation. First and foremost, relax. A comfortable body will fidget less and thus distract less. Okay, remember this is the purpose of the physical practice of yoga. Okay, the reason that we do all the asana and all the pranayama is to work out all the fidgeting needs of the body so that when you sit to meditate, you can be still. Okay, remember, to count as meditation, the body must be still. Second step, you want to draw your attention to your breath. You want to notice your breath and without critique, notice any of those issues. Again, think back to that lecture or refer back to that lecture on limb 4, pranayama. Okay, is your breath choppy or uneven? Is it shallow? Are your inhales and exhale cycles approximately equal? Okay, draw your attention to that breath. Note the issues that you've got going on. If there are issues, use a technique called victorious breath, okay, to calm and steady that flow. So we practiced breath counting in our own work last week. Victorious breath is just another way of doing that, just you're counting differently. So here you would want to count 1, 2, 3, 4 on your inhale and then again on your exhale. Okay? And by doing that, you should be able to concentrate on allowing that breath to steady and to slow down. Third step of meditation, witness your mind's eye. Imagine that your mind is a movie screen and focus your attention on that object of meditation, whether it's a true object, whether it's a sound, whether it's an idea, okay, that goal that we picked earlier. Try to keep that image on your movie screen. So when I said earlier that for beginners it's easier to pick something that's tangible, this is why. Because you've got a picture that you can put there and keep there. Again, if you're meditating on the idea of serenity, that's fantastic. But there's not a true image of serenity that you can sort of keep in your mind's eye. So for me, I find it easier to pick something tangible for this. Step 4, inspect your thoughts. Okay, so with that object of meditation, that goal of meditation on your quote-unquote movie screen, allow your brain to relax. Okay, when you notice that your attention has shifted, so in other words, you're playing a different movie in your head, bring your focus back to that meditation goal, put that meditation goal back on your movie screen. Okay, do this as necessary without critique or judgment. Okay, so again, meditation is not about the idea that I can sit here for 20 minutes and think about serenity and my mind never wanders. If you can do that, more power to you. But the idea is just that when your mind wanders, because it's inevitable that it will, you're able to, without criticizing yourself, bring yourself back to that state of focus and attention that you can think about that meditation goal again. Okay? And this brings us to affirmation and mantra. So affirmation takes that idea of non-judgment and non-critique of the self kind of a step further. One of the big goals of meditation is to promote positive thought, Hopefully when you come out of meditation, you feel better about yourself, about the world around you, about everything. Okay? So the definition of an affirmation is that it's a positive declaration. Okay? That's all it is. Simple. It can be simple and short. It can be something that's really long. It can reflect a purpose or a goal. So a common one that you'll see people use is, it is more painful than the risk it takes to blossom. Okay, saying that they want to grow and expand, but it's more painful to stay where you are. It can reflect a way of feeling about a person or about the world around you. Again, a common one that you'll hear is, may the grass you walk upon be green. Okay, so again, sort of putting that energy of goodwill out there. It can be a favorite poem or a verse or song lyrics that are really inspiring to you. Again, this one, again, has some religious undertones, but a common one that people will use is the love is patient, love is kind verse. Again, if you've got a poem that you like, or a song lyrics that you really like that are very positive, you can use those as your affirmation. So again, really the only thing that you're bound by is that it's positive in nature. Mantras are similar to affirmations in that they are positive statements. The difference between them is that a mantra is usually a positive declaration about one's own self. Okay, so an affirmation, and if you look back at the examples I gave you on the previous slide, can be very general. Okay, it can just be, again, that positive sort of vibe that you want to put out into the universe. A mantra is something that's positive about yourself. So people will use mantras a lot, to reinforce a belief that they want to have about themselves. For instance, my body is strong and healthy. People will sometimes use mantras as a sort of positive declaration of something they want to achieve. So I am able to ace this exam. This is something that you want to do, and you're not quite, sitting at the exam right now. So, a couple of days in advance, you meditate on this idea of, I can do this, and it becomes hopefully self-fulfilling. So again, the difference between them is that affirmations are very general. Mantras are very specific, and they're usually specific to one's own self. And homework 6. Since we talked so much about positive thought today, I bet you can tell where I'm going with this. Find your quiet, comfy place. Get your timer. Set it for 8 minutes this time. Before starting the timer, I want you to picture a face with a smile. This can be any face that you like. It can be that little yellow cartoon thing from the 80s. It can be your face if you've got a particular picture that you really like of yourself, a time when you were really happy, a friend or a significant other. If they have a smile that just always makes you feel good, picture that. But pick a face with a smile and get that image set in your mind. Start your timer, and I want you to begin by bringing your attention to your breath, okay? This is where we're going to sort of do a little different than we did last time. Rather than, just sort of starting willy-nilly, we're really going to focus on getting our breath where we want it to be first. So get your attention on your breath, and you're going to steady it using the victorious breath technique, okay? So again, count 1, 2, 3, 4, inhale. And again on the exhale, repeating as it's necessary until you've fallen into that steady rhythm. Do that as long as you need to. Once your breath is steady, bring your attention to that face with the smile on it. And focus there. Anytime that you notice that your attention has wandered, right, put that smile back on your movie screen. And then at the end, submit me a short summary of your experience. Okay, is it getting easier to steady your breath? Are you finding it easier to notice issues, and are you finding it easier to correct them? Hopefully you guys are at this point. Did your attention wander? If so, how much? Were you able to refocus? Is that getting easier for you? Any causes of problems? At any point, did you notice your own mouth smiling? And how do you feel now that you're done? Do you feel good? Do you feel better than when you started? And then the last thing I want you to do is spend a few minutes and craft a mantra for yourself. And again, it can be about something that you have coming up. It can be something that you want to reinforce about yourself, but craft a mantra and put that at the end of your summary. All right. I will see you guys next time.